Okay, welcome class. So, today we are going to be talking about the different categories um, under the IDEA Act. The first one we're going to be talking about is gifted and talented. Now, this category affects students whether they have another need or not, meaning whether they have another disability or not. This category has to do with students who are intellectually above their grade level, and this can affect them mentally because they experience frustration from not feeling challenged. Behaviorally, a student may look like they're not behaving because of the lack of enrichment. Many times, this category is pushed aside or it is not caught with time, or it may not be even caught in that school year, because a lot of teachers will just, based on the behavior they are seeing, will not realize what is happening, what is the action that is causing the behavior, or won't realize where the frustration is coming from or where the behavior is coming from. So because of this, they look like they're not behaving, but it's really just because of the lack of the enrichment that they're not getting. So socially, they may act their age, but emotionally, they will still have the traits of their age. The other category, other health impairment. Now, this category means having limited strength, vitality, or alertness, including a heightened alertness to environmental stimuli. This can include categories like ADHD, which affects a student's executive function and their focus during the lesson. The other category we have is speech or language impairment. This affects a student's ability to communicate effectively. This can be through the physical act of stuttering, impaired articulation, language impairment, or a voice impairment. All of these needs can also affect that student's academic performance. Autism spectrum disorder. This disorder is something that affects the student's social interaction with others and their ability to communicate. As a result of this, it can also tremendously affect their academic performance. Now, this isn't always the case. So there are times where it's difficult to provide the student with an IEP or get them one. But in that case, accommodations should still be made for the student. Then we have emotional disturbance. Now, this condition is described as the inability to not only maintain interpersonal relationships, but also the characteristics of displaying inappropriate types of behaviors or feelings under normal circumstances. This can also affect the student's academic performance, and it includes disorders such as anxiety, depression, and bipolar. So, one thing we're going to be focusing, one of the categories we're going to be focusing on is differentiated instruction for other health impairment, specifically students with ADHD. This was something that was personal to me because I currently have a student in my class who experiences this, and I was trying to figure what I really wanted to do was do more research to figure out what kind of supports I could be providing for that student. So, a technological differentiation. This could be through the use of a timer on the laptop, set right in front of the student for them to see how much time they have left for a task. Now, this can benefit their executive function of staying on task and completing the assignment. Another thing to note is that executive functioning is also a need for students whether or not they have ADHD. Now, if a student does have ADHD, it is something that can affect their executive functioning, but it doesn't mean that they only struggle with this particular thing. Socially and academically, a student with ADHD may also have success with peer assistance. This type of differentiation may support them in attending or staying on task, and the peer would prompt that student to get them back on task. Now, this support is also something that has to be done carefully with kind of like a training for that student, whoever the student is that is going to be supporting the other student with the need. And also when trying to choose that particular student, we're not only looking for the ones that we feel are most responsible, we're looking for ones who, may be shy and may need that type of interaction to support them in opening up a little bit more and interacting socially with other students, but also one that we know will understand the assignment or has done so in the past frequently. So another adaptation or another differentiation is something related to cognitive behavioral interventions. Now, this can be done with self-instruction and self-monitoring. Both provide the student the opportunity to monitor their behavior while monitoring their task completion. So a cognitive behavioral intervention could look like a behavior plan. It could also look like sitting that student down and providing them with different supports where they have to self-monitor themselves. And this will get them into the habit of completing the task more frequently and monitoring what is the behavior that they're supposed to be doing at that moment, whether it's during the lesson or while completing an activity given. Another differentiation for instruction could be highlighting directions with larger fonts or colors. One thing I've noticed with students with this particular need, a lot of them will say, I forgot. And it happens very frequently. I'm not saying it will happen for everyone because every child is different. How it affects them is different with everyone. But particularly with the student that I have in my classroom, one thing I have noticed is I forgot or I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing. So highlighting those directions, providing it in larger fonts, highlighting it in a different color may also support them in knowing what they're supposed to be doing for that moment. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen. These are a few of the references that I used to conduct the research for this presentation. Thank you and have a great night.